The moment Jack Henderson's eyes met Sarah's across that snowy parking lot, something deep inside him shifted forever. What began as a chance encounter with a desperate mother and her twins on Christmas Eve would unravel into a story so extraordinary, it would reshape his understanding of fate, family, and the invisible threads that connect our lives. If you're looking for a story that will restore your faith in humanity and remind you that miracles still happen when we least expect them, keep watching until the very end. And if this story touches your heart, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more life-changing true stories. Jack had been dreading Christmas Eve for months. It would mark the second holiday season without his wife Emma, who had passed away from cancer 18 months earlier. Their daughter Lily, now 7, still asked about her mother daily, and Jack did his best to keep Emma's memory alive while struggling to be both parents to their child. He worked as an architectural engineer, a job that paid well but demanded long hours, forcing him to rely heavily on his elderly mother for childcare. Tonight, however, was just for him and Lily, a night to create new traditions while honoring old ones. They had spent the afternoon baking Emma's famous sugar cookies, following her handwritten recipe card that Jack now kept laminated in the kitchen drawer. Lily had insisted on making extras for Santa's helpers, and Jack couldn't refuse her anything, especially when her request somehow kept her mother's spirit present. After the baking marathon, Jack realized they were missing ingredients for Christmas dinner. Despite the heavy snow and dropping temperatures, he bundled Lily up and headed to the 24-hour supermarket on the edge of town, the only place open on Christmas Eve in their small community of Cedar Grove, Pennsylvania. "Daddy, can we get hot chocolate after shopping?" Lily asked, her breath visible in the cold car as they pulled into the nearly empty parking lot. "Mom always said hot chocolate makes Christmas Eve magical." "Of course, sweetheart," Jack replied, his voice catching slightly at the mention of Emma. "We'll make it extra special tonight." As they approached the store entrance, Jack noticed them, a woman and 2 small children huddled near the shopping cart return. The woman wore a thin coat clearly inadequate for the biting December cold, and the twins, who couldn't have been older than 5, pressed against her for warmth. A small cardboard sign rested against her legs, "Please help. Need food for my children. God bless." Jack instinctively tightened his grip on Lily's hand and quickened their pace. Cedar Grove wasn't a place where you often saw people begging, and Jack had the typical middle-class hesitation, wondering if she was genuinely in need or if this was some kind of scam. But as they passed, one of the twins, a boy with eyes too serious for a child, looked directly at Jack, and something in that gaze stopped him cold. "Daddy, those kids look cold," Lily whispered, tugging at his hand. "Like in the story about the match girl you read me." The mention of the Hans Christian Andersen tale, one of Emma's favorites to read during the holidays, felt like a sign. Emma had always been the first to help others, volunteering at homeless shelters and organizing food drives. "What would Emma do?" had become Jack's silent mantra whenever he faced difficult decisions. "Wait here a minute," Jack told Lily, positioning her just inside the store entrance where he could see her. He approached the woman cautiously. "Excuse me," he said. "You and your children shouldn't be out in this cold. Can I help you with some food?" The woman looked up, and Jack was struck by the mixture of hope and humiliation in her eyes. She was younger than he'd initially thought, probably in her early 30s, with dark circles under her eyes suggesting many sleepless nights. "We just need enough to get through Christmas," she said quietly. "I start a job after the holidays, but right now we're in a tough spot." "I'm Jack," he said, surprising himself with the introduction. "Why don't you and your children come inside where it's warm? I'll help you get some groceries." The woman hesitated, pride and necessity visibly warring within her. "I'm Sarah," she finally said. "These are Michael and Maddie." "Thank you, we don't usually." "Mom, I'm cold," whispered the little girl, Maddie, her voice small but clear. That decided it. "Come on," Jack said. "No one should be cold on Christmas Eve." Inside the store, Lily immediately befriended the twins, showing them her favorite cereal aisle while Jack and Sarah awkwardly navigated the beginnings of a conversation. Sarah explained that she'd recently moved to Cedar Grove after leaving an abusive relationship. She had family across the country but had deliberately moved somewhere her ex wouldn't find them. The few $100s she'd saved had quickly disappeared on first month's rent for a small apartment, leaving almost nothing for food or utilities. The new job starts January 2nd, she explained as they moved through the aisles, Jack adding items to his cart while Sarah carefully selected the most economical basics for her family. It's at the medical center, in administration. Not glamorous, but it has health benefits for the kids. The medical center? Jack asked, feeling a strange prickle at the back of his neck. Cedar Grove Medical Center? Sarah nodded. I was lucky to get it. Apparently, the woman who interviewed me lost her sister to domestic violence years ago. When she understood my situation, she fast-tracked everything. Jack's hand froze on a box of pasta. Emma had worked at Cedar Grove Medical Center as a pediatric nurse before her illness forced her to stop. The coincidence felt eerily significant. As they shopped, Jack found himself sharing more about his own situation than he had with anyone in months. There was something about Sarah, a quiet dignity despite her circumstances, that reminded him of Emma's resilience during her illness. When they reached the checkout, Jack insisted on paying for Sarah's groceries along with his own. The cashier, a grandmotherly woman named Betsy who had known Jack for years, smiled approvingly. Emma would be proud, she whispered as she handed him the receipt. Outside, the snow had intensified. Jack looked at Sarah's thin coat and the twins' inadequate winter wear and made a decision. "Where's your car?" he asked. Sarah's pause told him everything. "We walked here. It's not too far." Jack glanced at the heavy grocery bags, the deteriorating weather, and the 4 children now happily comparing Christmas wishes. "I can't let you walk home in this. Let me drive you." 20 minutes later, Jack pulled up in front of a rundown apartment complex on the outskirts of town. The building was clean but clearly aging, with peeling paint and a front door that didn't quite close properly. "Thank you," Sarah said, emotion making her voice rough. "You've made our Christmas possible." Jack helped carry the groceries up 3 flights of stairs to a nearly empty apartment. 2 air mattresses occupied the living room, and a small artificial tree, clearly secondhand, stood in the corner with homemade paper ornaments. "It's not much yet," Sarah apologized, "but we're safe here." As the twins excitedly showed Lily their tree, Jack noticed a framed photograph on the windowsill, the only decoration in the sparse room. It showed a younger Sarah with a woman who looked remarkably similar. "My sister," Sarah explained, following his gaze. "She passed away 3 years ago. Cancer." Jack nodded, his chest tight with unexpected emotion. "My wife too. 18 months ago." A moment of understanding passed between them, that unique recognition that only those who have experienced profound loss can share. As Jack prepared to leave, Lily was adamant. "Daddy, we need to bring them for hot chocolate. You promised Christmas Eve hot chocolate." Before Jack could find a way to politely extend the invitation, Maddie gasped suddenly, pointing at the photograph. "Mommy, that's her. The angel lady." Sarah frowned, confused. "What angel lady, sweetie?" From the hospital, Michael chimed in. "Remember when we had to go to the doctor for our shots? The nice nurse gave us stickers and said we were brave." Jack's heart began to pound as Sarah's expression shifted from confusion to realization. "That was about 2 years ago, before we moved here," she explained to Jack. "The twins had to get their vaccinations updated. There was a nurse who was so kind to them, she gave them each a little guardian angel pin. She said." Sarah's voice caught. "She said that even when we feel alone, we're never without protection." With trembling hands, Jack pulled out his wallet and extracted a worn photograph. Emma, in her nurse's uniform, smiling at the camera. "Was this her?" he asked, already knowing the answer. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. Yes. That's her. She was so kind to us. She spent extra time with the twins because they were scared, and she told me. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. She told me that I deserved better than what I was accepting, that I needed to protect my children and myself. She was the first person who made me believe I could leave him. Jack stared at the photograph of his late wife, stunned by the revelation. Emma had touched this family's lives years before, planting the seed that eventually led Sarah to find the courage to escape her abuser. And now, through some cosmic orchestration beyond understanding, their paths had crossed again. Emma, he said softly. Her name was Emma. The apartment fell silent except for the sound of the children, now playing contentedly with paper and crayons Lily had found in her coat pocket. Please, Sarah said finally. We'd love to join you for hot chocolate. That night became the first of many shared between the two families. Over steaming mugs of cocoa topped with the marshmallows Emma had always insisted were essential, Jack and Sarah discovered more intersections in their lives, books they both loved, a shared passion for historical documentaries, even having attended the same concert years before either was married. As weeks turned into months, their friendship deepened. Sarah's job at the medical center provided stability for her family, and Jack found himself helping her navigate single parenthood while she offered him the understanding of someone who recognized the sharp edges of grief. By the following Christmas Eve, their two families gathered around a proper dining table in Jack's home, the twins and Lily now inseparable friends. Sarah had brought Emma's photograph from her apartment and placed it on the mantel beside the one Jack kept there. I believe she brought us together, Sarah said quietly as they watched the children hanging ornaments. I don't know if you believe in angels or fate or just extraordinary coincidence, but I think Emma is still taking care of all of us. Jack reached for Sarah's hand, a gesture that had become natural over the months. They weren't rushing into romance, both carried too many scars for that, but they had found in each other a partnership neither had expected to discover again. Emma always said that love finds a way to keep flowing, Jack replied, remembering his wife's words during her final days. I think she would be happy to know her love is still creating ripples. That Christmas Eve, as the blended family shared stories and laughter, Jack realized that the stunning truth he discovered a year ago wasn't just about the miraculous connection that had brought them together. The deeper truth was that healing comes in unexpected forms, that family can be created from the broken pieces of different lives, and that sometimes, the people we lose find ways to continue guiding us home. If you've stayed with this story until now, perhaps you too believe in the extraordinary ways our lives intersect with others. Maybe you've experienced your own version of finding connection when you least expected it. Remember that the kindness you show today might create ripples that continue long after you're gone. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the invisible threads connecting us all.